unknown wonders of the planet. Somewhere beyond the familiar world, there are places that still seem impossible. Forgotten islands rise from empty oceans. Lakes glow in unnatural colors, and towering cliffs conceal landscapes few people have ever seen. Beneath the ground, caves shine in darkness. Across untouched wilderness, silent glaciers stretch toward the horizon, while hidden mountain peaks remain suspended above the clouds. These are not ordinary destinations. They are nature's greatest secrets, shaped over millions of years and waiting beyond the edge of the known world. Today, we journey into the planet's most extraordinary hidden wonders. San Benedictto Island, Mexico. San Benedictto Island rises in the middle of the Pacific Ocean like a bare gray mass of land, completely separated from mainland Mexico. The island belongs to the Revejo archipelago, where boats must travel for many hours across open sea to reach it. On the southern side of the island, the Barcina volcanic crater is clearly visible, with gray ash slopes running down close to the water's edge. The 1952 eruption added new land to the island, leaving hardened lava flows stretching toward the coast. On land, San Benedictto has almost no large trees, only volcanic rock, strong winds, and dry coastal cliffs. Beneath the water around the island, giant manta rays swim past underwater rock walls, creating a world completely different from the empty island above. Lingong Hanging Temple, China. A red temple sits tucked inside a rock hollow on Lingong Mountain, with a large cliff face above it, jutting out like a natural roof. Lingong Hanging Temple is in Fujian Province, China, in a mountain area with many steep cliffs, rock caves, and wooded slopes. The temple was built directly against the recessed part of the cliff, making the structure look as if it clings to the rock instead of standing on the ground. From a distance, the curved tile roofs and red walls stand out against the grey stone, forming a small spot of color in the wide cliff face. The path up to the temple passes over stone steps and along the mountainside, where the valley opens up below at different stretches of the way. During the rainy season, water can pour down from the rock crevice above, creating a thin curtain of water in front of the temple area. Tiger Cave Temple, Thailand. From above, Tiger Cave Temple appears with a golden Buddha statue on the mountaintop. While below, the crabby forest spreads out and limestone cliffs rise through the mist. The temple is in southern Thailand, in a mountain area with natural caves, forest trees, and tall cliffs all around. The name Wat Tamu is connected to the Tiger Cave, where people tell stories about tiger footprints and meditation practices in this area. From the foot of the mountain, the stairs going up are very steep, with some narrow and high sections that make visitors move slowly, step by step. Along the way up, tropical forest grows close to the path, while monkeys often appear around the lower area of the temple. Near the top, the temple roofs and the golden Buddha statue begin to appear against the wide open sky. From the high terrace, all of Krabi spreads out below with green forest, plains, and limestone mountains rising far off near the horizon. On the final upper terrace, the golden Buddha statue sits facing the valley, while the steep steps still stretch downward along the mountainside. Batu Caves, Malaysia. Batu Caves makes an impression right from the entrance, with the golden statue of Lord Murugan standing before the limestone cliff, and behind it 272 steps leading up to the cave mouth. This site is in Selangor, just outside Kuala Lumpur. So, an ancient limestone mass appears very close to the urban rhythm of Malaysia. As they climb higher, visitors can look back at the city growing smaller below, while the cave entrance ahead becomes wider and wider. Inside Temple Cave, the stone ceiling rises very high, letting natural light fall onto the cave floor and the grey rock walls. The Hindu temples stand right inside the cave, making Batu Caves both a geological landscape and an active place of worship every day. Beneath the limestone ceiling, incense smoke, the sound of prayers and light from the cave entrance keep Batu Caves feeling alive inside the mountain. Chaka, Salt Lake, China. Chaka Salt Lake is known as the Mirror of the Sky in China. This place is in Qinghai, China, in a dry region where water evaporates much faster than it is replenished. Over a long time, salt and minerals have built up into thick layers, creating one of the largest salt areas in China. From above, the landscape appears as patches of white, pale blue, and turquoise, divided by roads and shallow saltwater lakes. The most special feature here is the stretches of road built directly on the salt surface, where vehicles can drive across ground formed from crystallized minerals. In the lake area, saltwater ponds and salt fields form giant geometric blocks, making the whole area look like a man-made map in the desert. At the edge of a saltwater lake, the white salt layer hardens into solid patches under the roadside, while the pale blue water lies still amid the dry land of Qinghai. Horizontal Falls, Australia. At Horizontal Falls, seawater does not pour down from a cliff, but is pushed sideways by the tides through two narrow gorges, like a waterfall turned flat on the sea. Horizontal Falls is in Talbot Bay, on the remote coast of Western Australia. This phenomenon appears when large tides push a huge mass of water through the narrow gaps of the Maklati Range. When the water levels on the two sides are different, the current is squeezed together, creating white foam, whirlpools, and a horizontal step of water on the sea surface. As visitors come close to the rock gap, they can feel the water being forced powerfully beneath the boat, while the sound of the tide hitting the rock walls echoes across Talbot Bay. From above, bands of blue water are cut by reddish-brown cliffs, making the whole bay look like a giant natural canal system. When the tide changes direction, the current also reverses, making the falls appear again on the opposite side. In front of the narrow rock gap, foam gathers into a long white streak, then is pulled strongly through the opening between the two rock walls. White Pocket, United States. White Pocket opens up like a twisted stretch of desert, where layers of white, red, and orange rock roll into one another like the surface of another planet. This area lies within Vermilion Cliffs National Monument in a remote part of the Paria Plateau near the Utah border. Its most striking feature is the exposed Navajo sandstone, shaped into rounded domes, curved grooves, and surfaces that look like rock masses molded by hand. Some white rock patches swell like cauliflower, sitting beside red bands of rock that curve close to the ground. After rain, water collects in small rock hollows, reflecting the sky and making the colored lines stand out more clearly. Getting to White Pocket usually requires a high-clearance vehicle and a long dirt road, giving the place a much more isolated feeling than tourist spots that are easy to reach. In a shallow rock hollow, a small pool of water lies among red and white sandstone patterns, while rounded rock formations continue spreading out behind it across the desert floor. Pongo and Dongo, Angola. In the wide savanna of Angola, the black rocks of Pongo and Dongo rise suddenly like a stone city left behind in the plain. These rock formations are in Malangui province, where the surrounding landscape is fairly low and open, making them stand out even from far away. What is most impressive is not just the color of the rocks, but the way the monoliths stand apart from the ground, much higher than the green cover below. Some rocks reach heights of about 500 to more than 650 feet, creating the feeling of natural walls rising in the middle of the savanna. Seen from above, the large rocks are scattered among shrubs and small valleys, forming a natural maze rather than a continuous mountain range. Pongo and Dongo is also linked to legends about Queen Njinga, as some hollow marks in the rock are said by local people to be her footprints. Against the dark stone surface, streaks of moss, cracks, and tree shadows show that these rocks are not only a striking landscape, but also the remains of a land shaped by time for a very long period. Prahodna Cave, Bulgaria. Two eyes-shaped openings in the ceiling of Prahodna Cave let light fall straight onto the stone floor, creating the famous scene known as the Eyes of God. The cave is near the village of Kukova, Bulgaria, in a karst area with many limestone cliffs and deep ravines. Prahodna is shaped like a natural tunnel, with two large cave entrances opening at opposite ends. Inside the cave, the rock ceiling is so high and wide that the sound of footsteps can echo through the empty space beneath the mountain. Looking up from the stone floor, the two bright holes in the ceiling look like a pair of eyes open in the darkness of the cave. Near the large cave entrance, a bungee cord hangs down from above, while the person below looks small beneath the huge stone arch. Blyde, River Canyon, South Africa. Blyde River Canyon appears with tall red rock cliffs, a green river below, and mountainsides covered with forest trees. This canyon is in Namaqualand province, South Africa, inside Blyde River Canyon Nature Reserve, near the panorama route. Unlike many dry canyons, most of the mountainsides here are covered with green, subtropical vegetation. Over a long time, the Blyde River has cut deep into ancient rock, creating steep cliffs, deep valleys, and curving stretches of river at the foot of the mountains. One of the most striking sights is the rounded mountain formations rising from the valley, often compared to traditional house roofs. From high viewpoints, visitors can see the water far below, while the rock walls stretch along the canyon. In some sections, boats can travel on the water at the foot of the canyon, letting viewers look up at the rock walls from below. Beneath the red cliffs, the Green River keeps winding through the valley between mountainsides covered with forest trees. Namaqualand, South Africa, and Namibia. Namaqualand is one of the rare places in the world where a desert can turn into a sea of flowers after just the winter rains. This land stretches across western South Africa and up into southern Namibia, along part of the cold, dry Atlantic coast. For most of the year, Namaqualand appears only as a dry land on the edge of South Africa and Namibia, with red soil, bare rocks, and low shrubs scattered under the sun. In winter, cold rains from the Atlantic begin to soak into the dry soil, waking seeds that have lain still underground for many months. When spring arrives, the open ground along the roads can change color very quickly, from gray-brown to patches of yellow, orange, and purple spread close to the earth. On clear, sunny days, the flowers open wide toward the sun, making whole hillsides look as if they are covered with a bright layer of color. Up close, each small flower grows close to the ground, showing that this brilliant sight is actually made up of millions of very low, short-lived plants. The flower season usually lasts only a few weeks, so these bright carpets of color disappear quickly when heat and dryness return. After the blooming season, Namaqualand returns to stones, soil, low shrubs, and new seeds lying still underground, waiting for the next winter rain. Kyzylkup Mountains, Kazakhstan. The Kyzylkup Mountains stretch across the Mangoshtau Desert with white, red, and brown hillsides, layered like a block of earth cut straight through. This area lies in western Kazakhstan on a vast, dry land where dirt roads run across an almost empty steppe. The nickname Tiramisu Mountains comes from the colored stripes on the hillsides themselves, where pale rock layers and red earth layers sit on top of each other like layers of cake. These bands of color were formed by mineral-rich sediment layers once deposited in an ancient environment before being lifted up and exposed to sun and wind. Over a long time, wind and rainwater cut into the softer layers, creating small grooves running down the hillsides like scratch marks on the surface of the land. From the high points, visitors can see colored lines curving through the valley, while off-road vehicles become only tiny dots against the desert floor. What makes Kyzylkup special is not its height, but the feeling of looking into layers of Earth's time clearly revealed right on the ground. Tso Moriri, India. At an altitude of more than 14,800 feet, Tso Moriri appears like a strip of deep blue water in the cold highlands of Ladakh. The lake lies on the Changang Plateau in a cold and remote highland area in northern India. The water stretches for about 16 miles, reflecting the grey-brown mountain slopes and distant snowy peaks. Near the northern side of the lake is Korok, a small village set in an almost empty highland space. The presence of the village makes the landscape feel not completely deserted, but it also shows that people here must adapt to the altitude, the cold, and the isolation. Because of the great altitude and harsh climate, every movement here feels slower amid the cold wind and open space. Tottori Sand Dunes, Japan. At the Tottori sand dunes, the sand is not in the middle of a desert, but drops straight down near the edge of the Sea of Japan. This dune area is in Tottori Prefecture, Japan, along the coast of the Sanin-Kaigan Geop Park. Winds from the sea keep blowing across the sand surface, creating fine ripples that change from day to day. From the high sand slopes, visitors can see the blue sea opening wide just beyond the golden dune lines. One highlight here is Umanos, a large sand slope shaped like a horse's back, where many people climb up to see the whole coastline. When walking down the dune slope, footprints form rows in the sand before the wind erases them. At the end of the sand slope, white waves wash onto the beach, while the wind-made ripples remain clear on the sand above. Enchanted city of Cuenca, Spain. The rock formations at the enchanted city of Cuenca look like the remains of an ancient city, with paths, stone gates, and stone roofs rising among the pine forest. This area is near the city of Cuenca, in the Serranía de Cuenca Mountains of Spain. The landscape here is made of limestone and dolomite formed long ago, when this area was still connected to an ancient marine environment. Over millions of years, water, wind, and ice wore the rock into large pillars, deeply carved walls, and formations with heavy tops like mushroom caps. As they follow the trail, visitors pass one by one through rock shapes named after the animals, objects, and human figures they suggest. Pine trees grow among the open spaces, making the light-colored rocks stand out more in the sunlight. At the end of the path, the dirt trail curves around a large rock formation where the overhanging stone roof casts shade on the ground below. Mount Teide, Canary Islands. On the island of Tenerife, Mount Teide rises in the middle of a vast volcanic region, standing far higher than the rest of the Canary Islands. Mount Teide is about 12,198 feet high, making it the highest peak in Spain and the highest point in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. If measured from the ocean floor, this whole volcanic structure is about 24,600 feet high. showing that most of the mountain lies hidden below the sea. The park lies within a large volcanic system where ancient eruptions created a wide crater and fields of hardened, dry lava. The ground changes from reddish-brown to dark gray, revealing layers of minerals and volcanic ash built up through many different stages. Some native plant species still grow on the nutrient-poor rock, creating small patches of green amid the volcanic ground. As visitors walk along the park's trails, they can clearly feel the vast size of the caldera, with the summit of Teide always standing in the distance. On sharp-edged rocks and hardened lava ground, Teide National Park still preserves the traces of an island built from fire. Sanctuary of Las Lajas, Colombia. The Sanctuary of Las Lajas lies in the middle of a deep canyon in Colombia with a gray stone church spanning the Gualara River. This landmark is near Ipiales in the Nariño region, not far from the border between Colombia and Ecuador. Its most special feature is that the church was built right against the cliff face, making the structure look as if it grows out of the heart of the canyon. The bridge in front connects the two sides of the deep ravine, forming the main entrance that leads straight to the sanctuary. Inside, pilgrims come to pray before the image of the Virgin Mary, linked to the sacred story of this place. Seen from the opposite side, Las Lajas appears between two green mountain walls, while the Guara River flows below the bridge. Folgefonna Glacier, Norway. In the mountains of western Norway, Folgefonna spreads out like a white ice plateau above the fjords, valleys, and dark rock slopes. This glacier lies in the Hardanger region, where the landscape changes very quickly from the deep sea surface of the fjord up to the ice masses on the high mountains. Folgefonna is not a single stream of ice, but a system made up of several large ice sections on the same mountain peninsula. With an area of about 80 square miles, it is considered the third largest glacier on mainland Norway. The ice here can be nearly 1,300 feet thick, enough to completely cover the valleys and mountain masses beneath it. Meltwater from Folgefonna flows down into streams, lakes, and waterfalls, directly linking the high ice mass with the fjorded system below. Benxi Water Cave, China. At Benxi Water Cave, the tour begins when the boat leaves the dock and drifts into a dark river beneath the mountain. The cave is located in Liaoning Province in northeastern China, in a limestone mountain area where groundwater has cut deep into the earth over a long period of time. The farther you go inside, the more the outside light slowly disappears, giving way to a high cave ceiling, damp rock walls, and cold water below. The underground river flows through large rock chambers, forming a natural route that visitors can only travel by boat. On the cave walls, stalactites hang down in layers. Some sections look like stone curtains, while others gather like stone columns standing close to the water's surface. In the wider chambers, the boat becomes very small beneath the high stone ceiling, while the sound of water echoes softly in the enclosed space. As the boat turns back near the cave entrance, Outside light appears on the water's surface, while the bands of stalactites slowly recede into the darkness behind.